I'm so grateful for this place, grateful for unity. I'm grateful every single day for that, because like many of you, maybe unlike some of you, I don't know, when I started really awakening and seeing the world differently, I always had pretty much as a child, and then I saw things differently when I went to church, and I didn't believe the ways that others did, but then I thought, well, maybe I should. You know how that is. You just think, well, there's something wrong with me or different about me, you know, and then you just do. When you are young and inexperienced and you don't have much, courage to strike out yet, because, but you do later. So it was after my children were pretty much grown, still had one in college, and I just couldn't, I've told you before, I just couldn't do the job anymore that I was working. Could not do it one more minute. As a matter of fact, when I resigned and turned in my notice, it was like 3 months, because I had a pretty high-level position in an international corporation. I had a lot of responsibility. You're going to say, little old Judy, surely not. But I did. That was another lifetime away, I guess, but I just couldn't do it anymore. Could not do it anymore. Although I feel like I did the same job there that I do now, and that was being the faith keeper and taking care of people. I was vice president of human resources and administration, so I had a lot of responsibility and just too much responsibility. But there was an ache someplace inside that had been there all my life, and it was finally time to look at that. I believe I was 44 years old, and I said, I need to look at this. I don't know what sort of income I'll have after this, but I can't do this anymore. And it was extremely difficult, actually, to ride out those last 3 months, because it was just not what I was supposed to be doing at that point in my life. So I started reading everything I could, everything Dr. Shelby Spong, anything I could find. I had absolutely no idea there was a spiritual group like this, Unity. And I guess looking back on it, it was best for me not to know, because I needed to work out for myself what I believed, feel that in my heart. And then I was led to Unity through a different path. I was in another master's program at a Catholic college, believe it or not. Went on earth consciousness and earth sciences, because I was trying to decide what my future, who I was going to be when I grew up. And it was there that I was telling another person how I felt, one of the other people in the program, and she said, well, I go to Unity Church. You sound like that's your belief system. I said, really? I had no idea. I thought that you were either Catholic, Baptist, Methodist, or, I had no idea. I thought that was it. And so I started looking at the teachings, and I said, well, yeah. So I'm glad I came to it on my own before I found Unity, because I already had those beliefs. I had already worked it out for myself. There's no sin, salvation, or anything else except that we hold ourselves hostage to that. That's the only thing that could make sense to me. I could see it in the world. I knew that. Maybe my angels were telling me. I don't know. We all have guardian angels, you know. And we sometimes, I think they get sarcastic with us a little bit. You're like, you got to be kidding. So, like the guy that was a little overweight, he becomes psychic, and he says, well, I'm so thankful for my health. And his guardian angel says, well, you should be, you know, because of the way you eat and take care of yourself. So we need to listen to those guardian angels a little bit more. But what we believe here, of course, is what we've all discovered on our own, and that is that there is a divine presence. And the more we align ourselves with that, the more balanced we'll be, and our answers will come. And we don't need to worry. We need to know that even a year like this, something good will come from it. Even when we've experienced loss, we find out many things about ourselves that we never would have found had it not been for that loss. But today, I'm talking about gratitude. Gratitude in advance is the most powerful creative force in the universe. Wow. If it's that powerful, we need to pay attention, don't we? We need to pay attention to that. And some others, the hardest arithmetic to master is that which enables us to count our blessings. How about that? The only prayer you ever need to say in your whole life is thank you, and that would suffice. So, gratitude is awfully important. Let's talk about it just a few minutes, and I'm going to give you some tips on how to start your day with gratitude every day. So several years ago, the District of Columbia Police Department was auctioning off about 100 unclaimed bicycles. There was a little boy, 11-year-old boy, wanted a bicycle so badly, he only had $1. So each bike that came up, he bid $1. So with the bidding, of course, it went higher. $1 he repeated every time, hopefully, when each bike came up. The auctioneer, who'd been auctioning stolen or lost bikes for 43 years, noticed that the boy's hopes seemed to soar higher when a racer-type bicycle was put up for sale. Then there was just one racer left, and the bidding went to $8. Sold to that boy over there for $9, the auctioneer said. He took $8 from his pocket and asked the boy for his $1. The youngster turned it over in pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters, and he took his bike and he started to leave. But he turned back, parking his new possession, went back gratefully, threw his arms around the auctioneer's neck, and he cried. When's the last time you felt gratitude as profoundly as this little boy? This has been an interesting year, but I have felt gratitude many, many times throughout this year, and I hope you have too. Aesop said, gratitude is the sign of noble souls. Indeed, it's the hallmark of a life well lived. It impacts your life, your happiness, and the quality of your relationships, doesn't it? You remember when in your life that you realized gratitude was important? I hope it's not just today, but if it is, go with that. Remember it every single day. There's a man that his father was a minister. He was an evangelical minister, and he spoke for long talks on Sundays. And then he had especially long blessings when he was asking the blessing before they would eat their meals in the evening. And he said the family would sit around with dread, wondering how many Lord's Prayers and everything else they were going to listen to that night before they were able to eat. So a lot of hungry stomachs waiting around. He said one day his father came home, and he seemed in an especially cheerful mood. Went upstairs, washed his hands, came back down, sat at the table, and everybody sitting there just wondering how long their before meal prayer was going to be. The dad closed his eyes, bowed his head, and he just said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." And the young man said he learned a huge lesson that day. All these other words that we use, all these extraneous words, maybe they don't matter. And all we needed to say all along was thank you. That will suffice. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So this year, you might be wondering why she's standing up there talking about saying thank you for this year that's been so difficult. But maybe, if we're going to be grateful in all things, maybe we can decide that 2020 is the perfect year to say thank you. Give thanks in all circumstances. This was Paul of Tarsus. He probably wrote those words to bolster a struggling Christian community around 52 CE, which makes his first letter to the Thessalonians the oldest surviving passage in the New Testament. I wonder if the apostle to the Gentiles had any idea how timely this would be 2,000 years later. Give thanks in all circumstances. Can you do that? Can you do that? And gratitude in advance, the most powerful creative force in the universe. It's been quite a year. The lingering effects of COVID-19, an absolutely mind-numbing campaign season. Absolutely. I don't care which side of the fence you're on. It has been something, hasn't it? And now as Rick asked for prayers for our country, I ask the same prayers and send those up every day. And I know all is well in the end. And if it's not well, then it's not the end. We always count on that. So everybody who's predicting apocalypse, just stop. It's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. If it's not well, then it's not the end. And we've been assured that. So just remembering that, but and those lingering effects of COVID-19, the election season, locked up in our homes, not able to see our loved ones, so many different things we've muddled through the best we could. But there was a minister that wrote an article about being grateful. He said, give thanks in all circumstances. That can be a difficult reach when you're grieving, can it? We know that. We know that. Bernie, we know that. We're holding you in our hearts, okay? We know that. We're surrounding you with our love this morning, holding you up. We know that. So as I say these words, please know that we recognize that there are several right in the middle of grief. And we're holding you in our hearts. Holding you, Rosemarie. So maybe we can't always be thankful for our circumstances, but we can always give thanks during adverse and challenging times. We can do that. Thomas Shepard found himself, after heart surgery, having a hard time being thankful. He said he'd been a Unity student all his life, but there he was, flat on his back for 3 months, unable to stand or walk, too weak to brush his teeth. He said he was really feeling sorry for himself, but he gained a new outlook when he caught a short historical study on TV of the first Thanksgiving in America. He expected to see happy pilgrims wearing those goofy-looking hats, you know the ones that we usually see with the big buckles, but their hats had no buckles, and they were far from happy. The winter of 1620 and 21 devastated the Plymouth colony in Massachusetts. Half of its population died from disease and malnutrition, including all but 5 of the women. In spite of the harsh conditions, the remaining settlers gathered with their Native American neighbors to thank the Great Spirit for a harvest to see them through the coming winter. They were still grateful. So we've seen so many selfless acts of kindness this year, haven't we? Oh my goodness. We are thankful. The medical community, all those folks that have come together, those necessary people still working day in and day out to bring the food and supplies we need. We've been so grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. Seeing such selfless acts of service reminded me of the words of the icon, Fred Rogers. Mr. Fred Rogers. Look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping. And that, of course, reminded me again of our friend Rosa, and we went to see Mr. Rogers last December. And remembering her with love, again, for her generosity during her lifetime, all the giving she did, loving each of us, her honesty, feeling thankful for that. So I hold her in my heart every day, being thankful for every day that she was in my life. And that's the way we need to be for all of those that we've lost, being thankful for every day that we had with them. Now this morning, I wanted to talk a few minutes about the 5 steps to begin each day being grateful. Be grateful, breathe and stretch, spend time in the quiet, let go, forgive, set your intentions, and begin again. Now that sounds like it might take a long time and you don't have time for that, but you do. And I'm going to show you how you have time for that. It's as simple as this. When you get up in the morning, as you set the coffee machine on or the water to heat or whatever it is you do, express your gratitude. Feel that gratitude deeply. And if you are willing and able, just say, "Good morning, world," or "Good morning, God," or whatever it is that you want to express. Throw your arms up. Good morning. Good morning, world. Good morning, God. Good morning. Expecting to see only good today. Do that every morning. It will change your life. Then, take a few moments. Our bodies were meant to move, okay? And if you want to be limber in your 70s, 80s, and 90s, start being limber now. You can. And the more you don't move, the more your body won't move. And that's a fact. So, breathe. Do that with me right now. Take a nice deep breath. Stretch. Stretch. See, doesn't that feel good? Doesn't that feel great? Oh, we'll do a little yoga while we're here this morning. And that's all that yoga is. No, you don't have room. That's all that it is just getting the body moving. We are physical beings too. And this physical being is very important, very important. And we have great responsibility to take care of it, okay? We have a spiritual responsibility to take care of our bodies. That's a spiritual responsibility. So we stretch, get that blood flowing, the body limber, go all these different directions, spread your legs out this wide if you can, and if not, then work on it. And keep your body as limber as long as you can and healthy. Listen to your body. If you eat something and then your stomach burns later, maybe you weren't supposed to eat that. The body has an intelligence and it's trying to tell you something. Trust it. Trust it. Like the guy with his guardian angel. You got to be kidding. You ate that and now you're surprised you have a stomach ache? So just pay attention to your body and whatever speaks to you. You can do this in just a few minutes. We're not talking about a huge amount of time. And then every morning, if you're able, spend some time, and it can just be a few minutes. Because I know a lot of you have jobs, you need to get out there, you slept late, and you don't have much time. But spend some time in the quiet, whatever you call that. I call it my quiet time. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it prayer, meditation, contemplation. And in that time when you're balanced and centered, ask for whatever it is you need. Ask for guidance. Ask then in your prayer and centering time. That this will help you stay centered all day. If you will make this a practice. And as you're doing this, centering, asking for guidance also before you're finished. Ask yourself who you have not forgiven. It may be yourself. What have you not released or let go? What do I need to put behind me? Jesus said, forgive our debts as we have forgiven our debtors. So in saying that, he's saying we must forgive as part of our spiritual practice. I believe that forgiveness and gratitude are tied. You cannot separate them. Because when you're feeling unforgiveness, you can't really feel love. You can't be generous. You can't be loving. We all know that because we've had people we know that has had some forgiveness, maybe in just one part of their lives. And they'll think that that doesn't affect the rest of their lives, but it does. You can feel it, you know it, you can feel it in their aura when you're close to them. When someone has unforgiveness and bitterness, it taints and poisons everything around you. You cannot find your higher good while you're feeling unforgiveness. You can't do it. So look what you need to release, what you need to let go, what you need to forgive, and it may be yourself, and it's as simple as that. You are forgiven. Ask and you are forgiven. Ask and you are given. Simple words, count on it. And before you finish, and you can do all of this in a short period of time, set your intention for today. I've released everything. I'm centered in balance. I'm going to begin again. I'm going to be my best today. I'm going to respond instead of react. I am going to find the good in every situation. I don't need to look back years later to find the good in it. We always do. We can always look back on our prior life and say, well, gosh, I see what good came from that. At the time, I thought that was nothing but bad. But we can train ourselves to find the good now. We can. And be grateful. Feel gratitude. Expand your heart till it's overflowing. Absolutely overflowing. So one of the things we want to do is to release any unforgiveness. Let it go. Set it free. We want to be an example to those that are coming after us. We want to show our children and our grandchildren and others that we are around that we are emotionally mature. An emotionally mature person doesn't react. They pause, they take some time, and they respond. And so if we're spiritually and emotionally mature, our children are going to see that in us, aren't they? They're going to learn, and they're going to grow. And they're going to be solid, courageous, adventurous people with great spiritual practices because they've observed us. So I would just ask you, if you would, be grateful. Take care of yourself. Take care of your body. Spend time in the quiet. Forgive, let go, release, begin again. Every single day. Remember who you are and be grateful. I say again, I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful that you're here, each and every one of you, and those in the video audience. We're thankful for you. Thank you for being there. Thank you, and our listening audience later. Thankful for each of you. So grateful. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. I hold you in my prayers. I hold you in my heart. And I'm grateful. Thank you for your time. By the way, we're grateful Matt's here.